If you've been active in the Geometry Dash community recently, you might have realized that there are a lot of top levels being verified, and a lot of top levels that are very close to verification. I mean, it feels like almost every talented player right now has some kind of verification project that's like top 1 or top 10, and it's really fun to watch. So I thought about this a lot, and recently, considering that a big chunk of these levels are aimed for top 15 and above, I wondered what the list would actually look like when they're all verified. Based on that, I got to researching and came up with this video. So basically, I'm not going to waste any time. I'm just going to go chronologically in order of when I think the level will be verified, and then place it on a fake demon list to see where the current hardest levels would end up in 6 months, which would be in 2025 roughly. This list is going to include a lot of cool underground levels that you might not know are getting verified, so I recommend you check out all the players I mentioned, who will all be linked in the description. So obviously, if we're trying to predict a future demon list, we need to know the placements of the already verified top 15s. The first one is KOSETSU. KOSETSU is an ice-themed top 15 that was verified recently by the absolute legend Tyago, who, yeah, a little underrated. He's top 7 on the stats viewer, beat this level in like 3 weeks, actually beat it twice. And yeah, he has, I mean, I guess he does actually have a lot of subscribers, but at the same time, nobody ever talks about him, like ever. So I'd like to hear at least a bit more about this guy because he's a really good player. He said that KOSETSU was harder than Saul Goodman and Poo Cubed for him, so I think a realistic placement would be just at 16, right above Poo Cubed. I don't really think this would be contested at all, unless Zoink weighed in or something. But yeah, I guess we'll see by the end of the day, because coincidentally KOSETSU is getting placed today, so it literally probably will get placed as I'm making this video. I'm gonna feel really dumb by the end of it. The next level that was verified is Nullscapes. So Nullscapes is way more of an issue in terms of placing the level, because there's some people that claim that it's the hardest thing ever attempted in the game, and others claim that it's barely a top 10. Given Zoink said that it would place anywhere between 5 and 10 though, I think it's kinda safe to say that it would be placed above Tunnel Despair. Partly because that's the upper limit of Zoink's difficulty guess, but also, if you think about the fact that Zoink took like 3 months on Nullscapes and took like 3 weeks on Tunnel of Despair, I feel like he wouldn't let it be placed below it. I mean, I would never know, but I don't know, it just feels wrong for it to be placed below Tunnel of Despair, but I guess we'll see what happens with that. Anyway, these changes so far would push Cosmos out of the top 10, and Edge of Destiny and Codependence out of the top 25. Ouroboros would be pushed onto the legacy list, so we already have some pretty hard-hitting levels falling out of different parts of the list. Moving on, a new top 10 was verified very recently, being Based After Based. Based After Based is an all-dual no spikes level that was verified by Diamond Splash as a fluke from 78, which has got to be probably the biggest verification fluke in the top 10 right now. I think this level is really cool and goofy, but there's definitely a chance that it won't get rated, since most of Bakuna-kun's levels kind of seem to be a coin toss when it comes to that. But I don't think this level, being as hard as it is, won't get rated, because that kind of seems to be a scapegoat for bad levels getting rated. So hopefully it will. I think it will. But yeah, given he fluked the level, he doesn't fully know where the difficulty is anymore. But he claims that it's easier than Kuki and harder than Fireworks, so based on that, a generous guess would be at 9, which would be above Slaughterhouse and below Kuki at this point. So this change would push Sakupin Circles out of the top 10 and Limbo out of the top 25. So again, getting a little bit ridiculous. So making our way into fully speculative territory, we have our first pending verification, which is Spectre. Spectre is a really cool mega cola meant to be a remake of Zodiac, and it is really hard. PersonHuman42 is verifying it and estimates it to be around Acheron difficulty. He has 86% and 39,100, and actually as of like 20 minutes ago, he got 91%. So he's very close to verifying, so I'd expect it to be out by the end of September or by early October. So given the original showcase of this level, projecting it as a top 3, and him thinking it's around Acheron difficulty, I think it's safe to put it right below Acheron right now at number 3, just because we don't have like a definitive opinion that it is above, given he hasn't beaten Acheron, obviously, and I'm pretty sure his hardest outside of that is Firework, so this is very speculative territory. So this change would push Slaughterhouse out of the top 10, and we're not even to the verifications that are like really that speculative yet. So it's already getting kind of crazy by like the beginning of October. Next, I would expect Anathema to get verified sometime in October. Anathema is the final level in the Dedication series and acts as a sequel to Renovant, and it's being verified by WizKid05, who estimates it to be at least harder than Menace, which is placed at 11. So the problem with this is that Menace has very polarizing difficulty opinions. Like Thunder and Kaza both believe it's somewhere around Slaughterhouse difficulty, while Zoink thought it was fine where it was placed on the list. So it's kind of unclear whether Menace itself is top 10 or not, and then on top of that, it's kind of unclear whether Anathema is top 10 or not. A good placement might just be at number 10, which would be below Kyoki and above Based After Based. WizKid has 95 on the level right now, so we can definitely expect it to be out soon. If we expect Anathema to get rated pretty fast after it's verified, this would be placed in early November. The next level I'm guessing is going to be verified is Ouroboros. Servax is verifying this level, and he says after getting 61 and 27 to 100 that it's 100% harder than Acheron. Given that he's an Acheron and Tunnel of Despair victor, I'd say that's a pretty educated guess on its difficulty, so I think we can safely say this would be placed at number 2, above Acheron and below Tidal Wave. The next level I have is BOOBAWAMBA. BOOBAWAMBA is a top memory demon created by Akunakun that kind of seems to simulate some kind of broken down factory. The top player East Shark picked up this level and already got runs of 56 and 27 100. Then yesterday he got a run of 70. So weirdly enough, he was kind of on a hiatus when I originally wrote the script, but now I think he's going to verify it a lot sooner because he's been making way more headway from 0. I would say maybe look for an early to mid October verification of this level. He claims the level to be top 15 to 10 in difficulty, and with his several other completions in that range, including Deimos, Eyes in the Water, Poo Cubed, and Limbo. Sadly, I'm not going to place it on the fake demon list because I don't think it'll get rated, just given the way it looks. Anyway, despite the fact that I don't think it'll get rated, that's all the more reason to support the verification. Please go subscribe to East Shark and watch his videos. He's averaging like less than 500 views a video, and he's verifying a top 10. Like, please go subscribe to him. Moving on, I'm finally going to bring up the highly anticipated top 1s. Yeah, the moment you've all been waiting for. So there's actually 5 top 1s being verified right now. For reasons I'll explain in a bit, I believe the most likely verification to happen first is FLAMEWALL. Of the 5 levels being verified right now, Quattrocientos has the farthest progress from 0, apart from Grief being 48%, and he has the farthest overall run to 100 being 39 to 100. On top of that, he also has the most percent covered in one run in his Fluke 3 to 86% run, which covered 83% of the level. And on top of all that, Quattrocientos is also very consistent with his streams. You might have noticed that Grief has a lot of similar progress and obviously similar consistency in terms of streams to Quattrocientos. The only issue with Grief is that it's being verified with CBF, and I imagine it'll at least be a while until the issues we have with CBF are worked out. I imagine either Rob will finally implement it, Doggy will have to re-verify it at some point, or the list will allow CBF verifications in some way. Even if Grief gets verified like next month, it's not going to actually come out and be placed on the demon list till way later. But going back to FLAMEWALL, with all that said, it's very likely FLAMEWALL will at least initially place above Tidal Wave, even if it's not harder. So that said, Tidal Wave is dethroned sometime around November to December. Another level that I expect to be verified by the end of November is Injury. Kiwi recently started verifying the decorated version of this level and got a 74% run a couple weeks ago, and while I think it's really cool as a level, I'm pretty sure it has even less of a chance than BOOBAWAMBA of getting rated due to its length. Given the fact that Cobwebs, which is arguably a better level in terms of decoration and gameplay, didn't get rated, even with similar length, I think there's pretty much a 0% chance that Injury would get rated unless it did the thing where it gets rated just because it's hard. I'm not gonna take the effort of placing it on a fake demon list if it's probably never gonna end up there. Back to real levels, this one is a bit of a wild card because it's the Thunder top 1. This was a project he announced a while back, which he claimed was definitely top 1 by a long shot, and given that he got a really good run on Tidal Wave before that, I'd say that's not a terrible guess. Maybe he's wrong, but given that he's so confident about it and apparently hasn't gotten progress worth posting yet, I'd say it's pretty hard. Sadly, it's a secret verification and we can only make like random kind of educated guesses on where it would place. So I'll put it at number 1 above FLAMEWALL, but take all my top 1 verification placements with a grain of salt. By this point, Abyss of Darkness and Kuki have fallen out of the top 10, and Nelv has fallen to Legacy. Alright, next is probably the most uncertain level on the list, and that's because the Verifier's a frickin' slacker. Drake is verifying Amethyst, but he only has 41 and 67 to 100, so I have no idea when he'll finish it, on top of the fact that he hasn't streamed in like a month, so we have no idea what is happening with the level. He might finish it before the end of the year. He might just give it the APT treatment where he just doesn't play it for 4 months, which is seeming more and more likely, so I guess we'll see what happens. Again, literally have no idea where it would place, but I guess I can put it below FLAMEWALL and above Tidal Wave. Moving on, we have our 4th top 1, which is Vehemence. W Popoff is probably just as bad as Trick on this level, going on and off of playing it pretty much since May. He did manage to get 53 to 100 finally, like 8 months after he was given the verification. I really don't see much progress outside of that happening soon. I'd probably expect a November to December verification, but like, again, who knows? But yeah, given that W Popoff's crazy skill and everyone's clear hatred of this level's gameplay, given W Popoff's crazy skill and everyone's clear hatred of this level's gameplay, I'm gonna assume it's pretty impossible. So I'll place it at number 1, but like I said, again, this spot is arbitrary. All these could be interchangeable, so we'll see what happens there. Now for Grief. So it's kind of a weird situation, like I said earlier, because Doggy is using CBF. I wouldn't expect this to be out until like the end of winter 2025, just because there's so much logistical stuff that would have to be figured out, and possibly it would have to be re-verified, where I don't really know what would end up happening with the level, and I sincerely doubt it would be on the list as soon as it got verified, or like even within a month of it getting verified. So we'll just have to see what happens here. I will place it at the list at number 2 below Vehemence, but this is a very arbitrary placement that might not happen at all and might not happen for a very long time. This one, take with like less than a grain of salt. Take it with like a molecule of salt. By this point, Tidal Wave is out of the top 5 and Avernus is out of the top 10. Jumping back a bit into reality, we have It Means Everything. It Means Everything is currently being verified by Quivered, who leaves its top 2. He has 44 and 39 to 100 on the level, which closes up 2 runs. And he gives the notion that passing the UFO from 0 will be impossible, so I wouldn't expect this level to be out until November to December if he's really so certain about this level being that hard. Given that Quivered has less experience than Servax with Acheron, I'd put IME right above Acheron but below Ouroboros, just because Servax seemed to be a lot more sure about it being above Acheron. This change would push Silent Clubstep out of the top 10, which is ridiculous. Moving on, we have Banshee. Banshee is the official Hard Machine sequel and is being verified by SB Crete with runs of 86 and 21 to 100. He very recently tried again to pick up steam with this level, so I'd expect it to be out maybe around late November to December. I mean, all he has to do is finish up 16% of the level, so there's really no telling how long that'll take, but we'll just have to wait and see. Maybe it'll be October, who knows? Probably not, but again, we'll see. This level is kind of up in the air in terms of difficulty, apparently being top 1 to 3 on the current demon list. Based on this, I think a safe placement is probably right above Acheron at number 9, given that that is an average of 1 to 3 on the current demon list. Now, our last level, not counting honorable mentions, is a Nurse to Coop in Circles. Now, a very small part of me believes that there's a chance Rob might rate this level once verified, just because of the history it has and how many verifiers it has gone through, but chances are it probably won't happen. Emp recently passed the spam from 0 and reached 67%, and then fluked from 67 to 70%, being basically 1 click away from beating the level without choking, I guess, which is ridiculous. He obviously he's not gonna get back there anytime soon unless he somehow flukes that again. I don't think he will. But yeah, I guess we'll have to see what happens with that. So these speculative changes would bring levels like Acheron to number 10, Abyss of Darkness to number 16, Slaughterhouse to number 20, and the crazy thing is, most of these I felt like were pretty safe guesses, and obviously the top ones were kind of interchangeable, but if we assume they get verified and they're harder than Tidal Wave, then the spots I gave them don't really matter that much. I would expect each level to be maybe around 2 to 3 levels away from where I actually predicted it would place, but again, we'll have to see. I'll probably leave a pinned comment below regarding my predictions and where everything actually ends up happening and where things get placed, so I'll keep you guys updated with that. But anyway, if you're still here, I want to go through some honorable mentions for the list. This level is in 2 runs, but the verifier wants to redeco it, so it's obviously not going to come out for a while. This level is fully finished and ready for verification, but the verifier's hardest is Arcturus, so it's going to be a while until he can verify something this hard. This level is an impossible level that was recently nerfed to top 1 difficulty, so some crazy top player might pick it up, so I thought it was worth mentioning. This level is basically just a Sonic Wave Infinity extension, but Yo Friday Gamer literally made and is verifying it himself, so please go support it. This is an awesome level. This level has some pretty good runs on it, but the verifier has no idea where it would be placed, so I couldn't really in good faith put it on the list. This level was originally supposed to be really hard, but then they realized it wasn't that hard and prioritized fun over it being impossible for no reason, which is a crazy thing to do apparently. This level is being verified by Swyborg, so it's basically a lost cause. So is Deimos and Eternal Night, they're just not coming out. This level is being verified by Surbax, and he's not going to beat it for forever because he's working on Ouroboros. These levels are being verified by Seals, and they're all ridiculously hard, but he fell off the face of the earth, so who knows if they're ever actually going to come out. These levels were all made by Lisp and are ridiculously hard and all have no verifiers, so I guess we'll see what happens there. I don't know. This level was a 38-minute memory level made by Kunukun, who somebody somehow got 80% on, but they haven't done anything else with it for 7 months, so probably never going to release. These levels both use the Orochi song, and they're both really cool. Please check them out. One is open verification, and the other, we don't know the verifier yet, but they'll probably be finished by the end of the year. This level's just never ever being finished and never ever being verified. This level is... yeah, no, it's not happening. This level is also not happening. This level is maybe happening? I don't really know. This level is happening, but not really. This level's way too hard to be verified, and this level's way too hard to be verified. Anyway, so that was the entire list, including all the honorable mentions. I honestly do recommend checking out most of the honorable mentions because there are some really cool levels in there. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I would say I hope to get more videos out soon, but I really don't know what's going to happen. Like, my schedule's just crazy with the start of school, so I guess we'll see what happens. Hopefully I can get videos out because I have a lot of cool ideas, and if you guys have ideas, of course, drop them below. But yeah, no, I'm pressed really thin for time, so we will see what happens. But hopefully I can get like a good editing session out every weekend and maybe a video every 2 weeks or something like that. But anyway, thank you so much for your support. Watching this video means so much to me, especially if you made it to this point. And yeah, no, peace out. Thanks.